Okay, let's go ahead and get started. First, I would like to go over a few housekeeping slides. So, as again, welcome everybody. A few housekeeping slides before we begin with the presentation. If you look at the bottom of your Zoom window, you have the closed caption option. So, if you would like to use the closed caption, please select the Show Closed Caption. It's the icon that says CC at the bottom of your Zoom window. And secondly, if you would like to use the interpretation feature, please select the icon that says interpretation. It is a globe icon if you would like to listen to today's presentation in Spanish. That concludes today's housekeeping. I will now hand things over to Juan. Take it away.
Great. Thank you so much for that. And thank you everybody here for joining us today. Muchísimas gracias por estar aquí todos con nosotros. In the interest of time, I'm just going to go over today's agenda here really quickly. Today, we're going to be starting off with a with a safety moment, followed by some news to know, and a quick little introduction from the team here. Plus, we have a really cool prize, so you'll want to stick around to see how you can get that. It will be a new Nest Learning thermostat, 4th generation, so it's going to be pretty awesome. Then we have a couple polling questions. Then we'll go into the program overview, and then finally Q&A and some program resources. And then we'll finally wrap things up with a post-event customer survey. Go ahead and go to the next slide. So to start things off with the safety moment, September is known as National Preparedness Month. So our theme here today is to start the conversation. We have some resources listed right here where you can get general preparedness plans. You can get templates to make your own plan, and also you can get some information on how to get kits ready. But the first step in getting a plan going with your family is, well, to put a plan together by discussing some of the questions below, such as considering what specific needs your household has. Do you have cats? Do you have elderly? Taking all those things into consideration into the family plan that you're about to create, and then practice the plan because you can have a plan, but if you don't practice it, it can be hard to execute when the time arises. Next slide. And some cool news to know from PSE is that now our PSE website is offered in various different languages, including English, Chinese, Hindi, Korean, Russian, Spanish, and Vietnamese. So if you or anybody else that you know needs to access our website in a different language, we have quite a few different options. So please share that information with anybody that you know or that might need it. Next slide, please. So now we're going to go ahead and jump into some quick introductions. I'll start. My name is Juan Farias Torres, and I am an outreach manager for PSE here in Skagit and Snohomish County. I'll go ahead and let Jenna Haskins take it away and introduce herself.
Yeah. Hi, everyone. My name is Jenna Haskins, and I am the program manager for the PSC Marketplace. That is an online retail platform that gives PSC customers instant discounts on energy efficient products such as smart thermostats and EV chargers. I will now pass to Holly.
Hello, thank you, Jenna. My name is Holly Morgana. I'm program manager at PSC. I've been managing the smart thermostat program since 2017. And it'll be my 13th anniversary at PSC this October. I will hand it over to Manu.
Wow, 13 years, that's awesome. Hi, everyone. My name is Manu. I work at Google, specifically on the product team. And so today I'll be talking about thermostats, which are very close to my heart. I've been here a long time working on thermostats, so happy to share all that with you.
Thank you for those quick introductions. Yeah. Thank you. I appreciate it. So now one of the fun slides here, and that is the prize. So if you stick around today for the whole presentation, one lucky winner will be receiving a new Nest Learning Thermostat 4th generation. These things are awesome. They will eventually get used to your habits, and you won't have to do any of the work. So it's really cool. Stick around, and I will go ahead and give you more information on when the winner will be selected at the end of the presentation. Next slide. Okay, one quick poll question here before I pass it on. So how many of you currently own a smart thermostat? So I'll give you guys a couple seconds there to answer. Let's see here. I'm not seeing any polls here with. Oh, there we go. Perfectly. So it looks like the majority of the people here do not own a smart thermostat. So 81% do not own a smart thermostat. So that is, a good opportunity for you guys to learn a little bit more about what these thermostats can do and how they can, help make your home a more efficient and comfortable home throughout the winter and the summer. So now I want to go ahead and pass it on to Manu, and he will take it on from here.
Great. Thanks, Juan. Hey, everyone. My name is Manu Sharma. As I mentioned a minute and a half ago, I'm in the product team at Google. I've been working on thermostats here for a long time, a very long time. In fact, since the beginning of when we started working on these cool new products that we're going to talk about today, or this cool new product specifically that we're talking about today. So very excited to be here and happy to share all of this stuff with you. So the Nest Learning Thermostat is an iconic device. It's something that's been around. I think if we talk about, a smart thermostat, most people tend to think like, what's the word they use for it? It's kind of like the Kleenex of thermostats. And so people tend to use Nest. And that's because it's been around forever. So I think we first started back in 2011. And since then, there's been a bunch of different iterations. Before then, what's really interesting is, while smart thermostats or thermostats in general are kind of the heart of the home, right? Everybody uses the thermostat, everyone goes to it. And we used to think that, it was such a shame that such a vital piece of the home used to look like this until we came along and reinvented it a long time ago. And that basically that beige box eventually became an intelligent, easy to use device that just looks beautiful. And so in the last 11, 13 years, Nest thermostats have been installed by millions of people and saved billions with a B, billions of kilowatt hours of energy. So kind of awesome to look at and kind of awesome for the planet. So it's a win-win. And so as we launch more generations of the thermostat, our industrial design kind of evolved, right? So if you look at the original one is the one here on the left, and then the second generation in the middle, and the third generation, which was the current one until our new one, is on the right. And you'll see that the industrial design kind of evolved, the screen grew bigger, and the device got thinner and thinner. And so it's been a while since we launched our last thermostat, and we've completely reimagined everything and put it into a completely different package now, which includes over a decade's worth of expertise and compiling such amazing experiences from all these different devices too, right? So if you think back to what phones used to look like 13 years ago, or what home displays used to look like 13 years ago, we've learned a lot from all that other stuff because we build lots of other devices too, and put it all into building our new thermostat. And drumroll please, it is. So this is our 4th generation Nest Learning Thermostat. I love this tagline because I think it just makes perfect sense. It is beautiful, absolutely beautiful. I have these in my house. I've had them for a little while we test them out. It's not plugged in, as you can tell, because I'm not the wall. But this is what the gold one looks like, and we have a few other ones too. But it's absolutely beautiful. I'm a huge fan. And as we go through, I'll talk a little bit more about the features and what's great about it. But before that, here's a quick little video that hopefully will help you get better acquainted with it.
your Nest Learning Thermostat 4th Gen, first make sure you have all the parts that were included in the box: the Quick Start Guide, thermostat, base plate,
Lauren.
metal
pause?
plate, trim plate, screws, and temperature sensor. You'll also need a Google account, the Google Home app, and a Wi-Fi connection. If you don't have a Google account, go to accounts.google.com. To set up your account, tap Create Account and follow the on-screen steps. If you don't have the Google Home app, download it from Google Play or the Apple App Store. Open the Google Home app. Tap Devices. Tap the Add Device button. Tap Google Nest or Partner Device. Select your home. Tap Thermostat, then tap Nest Learning Thermostat 4th Gen. Scan the QR code on the back of your thermostat. Tap Next. Review the legal terms, then tap I agree. The app will walk you through the steps to install and set up your new thermostat. Gather your tools now so that they're available when you need them. You'll need a No. 2 Phillips screwdriver and pencil. Pliers, wire strippers, and a flashlight are optional. Then make sure your heating and/or cooling system is working properly before you start. Go to your home's breaker box and turn off the power at the circuit breaker. This will protect you and your equipment during installation. To double check that the system is off, adjust the temperature with your current thermostat. Wait a few minutes to make sure your system doesn't turn on. Turning the power off may disable Wi-Fi, so make sure your phone has mobile data turned on. Next, follow the steps in the app to remove the front of your thermostat and check the type of system you have. If you see 120V or 240V labels, stranded wires, or thick wires with wire nuts, your system is high voltage and not compatible with the Nest Learning thermostat. Important: do not connect a Nest Learning thermostat to these high voltage wires. If your system is compatible, tap Not High Voltage. Take a picture of the wires with your phone. This will be useful for reference later. If there are jumper wires connecting one wire to another, loosen the screws to remove them. You won't need them. Some thermostat terminals may have two labels, one for conventional systems and one for systems with a heat pump. If your terminals have two labels, tap Yes.
Sorry, it looked like there was a bit of a mix-up there on which video to play. I will try again. Okay. All right, let's try this one again and see if we can do a better job here. Okay, Jasmine, your video is the only video I can see, so can you nod if you can hear the sound as I play this? Can you see the video?
I can see the video, but there's no sound.
Okay, cool. There might be a sound issue. It's okay. We'll share the link to the video. It's not a huge deal because I'm about to walk through every single feature that was on the video. So it's all good. So let's go to the next page here. All right, so getting into the features. So you didn't get to hear the music from the video, but that's okay. The melodious sound of my voice will compensate, so it's all good. So as we think about this new thermostat, which I'm super excited about, that's why we made all these videos about them. It's hands down our smartest, most advanced smart thermostat so far. We've completely redesigned it, as you can see from the image on the left. That is actually a real image. I've been working on this product for 5.5 years. It's been a long time since I first started on the team. It's been a very long time. And we actually, that's only some of the models that we made as we investigated all these different ways that we could kind of reinvent an icon, which is a pretty tall order. It's also packed with incredibly great new ways to save energy and stay comfy. And one of the core things I noticed, we just did that poll, about 80% of people don't have a smart thermostat. One of the great things about having a smart thermostat is it saves you energy, and especially with rising energy costs, other issues that we have, climate change, all this stuff. It's really important that we do everything we can to make things a little bit better. So smart thermostats can do that for you. And not only does it look after your home and the environment, but it also looks after other parts of your home. So we'll talk a little bit about that too with what we call a system checkup. So we'll start with design because I think it's such a cool piece of the whole thing. And as you can see, this is not what you would think a traditional smart thermostat would look like, right? You generally think of something with a lot of buttons on it or a whole bunch of numbers and stuff. But there's lots of different ways you can build this. So the way that we designed this thermostat was really basically to look like a piece of art on the wall, something that's kind of the opposite of a bulky tech gadget, because it's a core part of your home. You don't need this giant screen with 85 different numbers on it that's just kind of messing up your decor. And so, as I showed you on the previous slide, we explored hundreds of different forms to come up with something that people would love and something that would build on top of our original design. And so things like the rotating metal bangle, which if you've seen the Nest thermostat, it's kind of what everybody knows it for. And we have that rotating metal bangle again, the curved lens, and the overall really kind of premium look and feel. And so if we talk specifically just about the display, it's got, this is a fascinating achievement, I think, on the design side. It has a borderless display, so you can't see where this kind of screen ends, versus with the older thermostats, there was like kind of a black bezel around the whole thing. And there's multiple layers. I think there's like, I don't know, 55 layers. I'm making that up. There's a lot of layers. There's a lot of layers of glass and colored films, or acrylic and colored films to make it all perfect. The display is actually 2.68 inches. So if the size of the display matters to you, that's the number you want to remember. But the core part is it's 60% bigger than the previous generation. And so what that means is you can have a lot more information on there. And so as you get closer, as you get farther away, the information changes. We'll talk about that in a second. And what you'll also notice is that the design language is actually quite similar to the Pixel Watch. So it kind of looks a little bit like a giant Pixel Watch, which is pretty cool. And since most interactions actually happen at the thermostat, the device itself, versus even though thermostats have the ability to be used with your smartphone or your smart display, we found that most interactions still happen on the wall itself. We developed we spent a lot of time on this. We developed a stainless steel metal ring. You can kind of see it from the back here. So it's still there from the front. It's just visible enough from a design perspective. That enables really precise controls. So it's really nice to feel. We actually spent a lot of time tuning the resistance of this wheel so it doesn't feel flimsy, as well as the click. So you can't hear it, but there's a really nice, very satisfying click. So and you basically just push the whole thing. So if anyone's worried about fingerprints on the thermostat, they might happen the first time when you're like, oh, it's not a touch screen because we don't want fingerprints all over it. And so, but it's really easy to use with rotating the whole thing and then a click to get the whatever settings you're looking for. And so I've been showing you the gold one so far because I really like it, but it actually comes in 3 colors and all of them are beautiful. Here's I only have 2 hands, so I picked 2 of them up. This is the silver one, polished silver, polished gold, and then the one in the middle is polished obsidian. And so each one is kind of designed for whatever, decor your house might have. And so lots of different options depending on what works for you. And as we talked about taking care of the environment, taking care of our homes, one of the core things that's really important to us is sustainability. So this is our most sustainable thermostat yet. We've expanded the use of recycled plastics and metal. And this time we've actually introduced 100% recycled cobalt in the battery. It's the first time ever. And our packaging is also 100% plastic free, which it's kind of amazing. There's a lot of time and effort that went into that. So I just want to share that part. It's pretty cool. Because if you look at most other products, like even things that are generally plastic free, they have like the little tabs, the plastic tape bits. We actually use paper tape, which I think is really. I just thought this was really cool, so I want to share it. So they're paper tabs, so 100% plastic free, really good for the environment, mostly recycled. It's a huge deal. So all of that put together makes it a really sustainable thermostat. And with that, let's pause for a second to do another poll. So before we get into features, let's do a quick one here. So which thermostat feature do you find most beneficial? Saving energy and lowering your bill, controlling the thermostat from your phone so you can do it when you're out of the house, participation in PSE Flex, or that it's easy to use. And we'll wait for a second to get some of the results here. And Juan, do you want to jump in with the results that you see?
Sure thing. Once they come up. All right. So it looks like about 72%, which is the majority of the people, are interested in saving energy and lowering their bill. And then the next big number is 44%, and that's just the ease of use. And 37% value the control to control the thermostat from their phone, and then 7% are interested in participating in the PSE Flex events.
Nice. Great. Well, the great thing is we're about to get into features, so we'll talk about a lot more features and how this thermostat kind of covers all of those. Everyone's covered. All right, so let's get into it with some of the core features that we really worked on and built. So one of the things, I've been talking about design so far. I want to keep talking about it for a little bit longer because I think it's such a core part of the house, it's such a core part of the home that it's important to be able to kind of really have something that fits into your home. And so from a design perspective, we wanted to take advantage of the much larger display and the various sensors that are in the device to provide helpful information whenever you walk by. So we have a feature called Dynamic Farsight, which if you look at the bottom of the slide in the middle, it says Soli sensor, which is actually a radar sensor. And so it detects when someone's walking by, and it can distinguish between humans and animals, which is, I think, super cool. But it detects when people walk by and when they're looking to glance at the thermostat. And so as you're farther away, the thermostat will turn on and you can see something like this on the screen where you've got maybe just the temperature or your set temperature and how much it's cooling to, or some like the time, for example, if you'd like a clock face. And as you get closer, that display now kind of changes so that you can see even more information on there. So things like what the outdoor temperature is or what the humidity levels are, or things like that. So there's a whole bunch of different features. And what's really cool is because it's a smart connected device, you also get the information from outside. So it tells you what the outdoor temperature is right now, what the air quality is right now. And so, it's a good way to figure out, should you keep your windows closed or should you open them and let some fresh air in, things like that. We can completely customize the screen. So as you can see, these are different faces. And we've also updated this motion sensor from the last generation. So it's pretty awesome. It's quite powerful, actually. The other thing that I really like about this thermostat, and just from a screen perspective, is just the features on the screen itself. So with such a larger screen, we're able to put more stuff in and create kind of these cool little experiences. So for example, here are some different options. So, if it's foggy outside, you can actually see fog. You can see snow. I don't see that too much here in California, but if you have it in like a colder part of the world, definitely. There's also things like partly cloudy day and night. And so you can kind of see what's going on through just like glancing at the thermostat itself and not having to pull up your phone and figure out what's going on, or things like that. Or looking out the window, which is another option, but it's even better. And then, so what we just talked about was, saving energy and money. And so when we think about saving energy and staying comfortable, those are we know they're the top reasons that people buy a thermostat. And so with this, we've really taken those to the next level. So the original Nest learning thermostat, the whole concept of learning, and it gained recognition for that, was learning your preferences and improving them over time to help you save energy. And now we've used AI because we're kind of a world leader in AI. So we've used our better AI technology to create a personalized temperature schedule even faster and more accurately. And so some of those things include kind of a new scheduling experience overall. So we've made a whole bunch of changes in the Google Home app to make it really simple, very easy to change. We've now got the device, so we have a feature called Smart Schedule. And so the thermostat learns which temperatures you choose most often and then adjusts your temperature schedule to match those temperatures. So if you continuously turn it down to say 68 degrees, it'll learn that and then adjust your temperature schedule accordingly. It also notices changes in your behavior. So for example, if you're waking up a little earlier, going to sleep a little later, it can adjust to keep you comfortable during those times. So you can do this both automatically, so just let it happen, and there's notifications that'll tell you that this has changed, or you don't want to do that, you can also just set it up to have suggestions only. And so it won't change it automatically, it'll tell you, and then you can choose to accept or reject. And there's another pretty cool feature where if you press down on the thermostat, and so you'll see this on the right-hand side on the thermostat itself, it's got the date, the temperature, and then it says learning what cool temperatures you like at different times of the day. So when you push down on the thermostat, you'll find a description of what the device is doing so that you learn more about what's actually happening behind the scenes versus just sure, temperature change, no idea why, which we think is pretty cool. And so the other thing that is really cool about this, this is just a really great feature I'm really happy about. It's called natural heating and cooling. So not only is it learning your preferences, it also has features that learn how your home reacts to different outdoor conditions and then makes adjustments accordingly. So we have this feature called natural heating and cooling. And so, for example, in this room, I have a window over here, and it gets pretty hot in the afternoons. So in the winter, it's cold in the morning, and I turn the heat on, and then it gets warmer and warmer, and then I get some sunshine, and then by about 2 o'clock, I melt. And I'm not going to turn the AC on in the winter, so like various things have to happen. I have to go find cold drinks, all this other stuff. But I'm also wasting a bunch of energy heating the room up when the sun's going to heat it up later on anyway. So with natural heating and cooling, the thermostat understands what outdoor temperatures are, and it understands how different parts of your house basically heat up at different times. So with remote sensors, which we'll talk about in a second, it basically understands when you can use outdoor temperatures to create the change that you want. So for example, in this case, it'll pause heating for me to help me save more energy and not melt in the afternoon. It's kind of a useful feature. We've also redesigned our classic eco feature. So eco is kind of a core thing. You'll see the little leaf at the bottom of each of the thermostats. That basically balances energy savings and comfort. And so we've optimized it even further to maximize savings while you're away from the home. But we also ensure that your home returns to your preferred comfort temperature within an hour of you getting back home. So if it's a cold winter day in, say, Chicago, Adaptive Eco, it might only adjust the temperature slightly, since it's going to take longer to warm up the house when you're at home. But if it's a nice spring day, it'll make like a bigger adjustment because it's faster to do that, and it'll save you more money. So what's really cool is all of these energy saving features make the thermostat ENERGY STAR certified. And on average, so this was the number one thing everybody asked for, was save energy and money. On average, our thermostats save 12% on heating bills and 15% on cooling bills. So it's a nice little bonus. And so this one, I just talked about sensors a second ago. We've also included a new temperature sensor. So this is the new temperature sensor. This was the previous one. For someone who knows the old thermostats, you may have also gotten the previous sensors. So new design, they fit better with the new products, the new thermostat itself. I think they're super cool, and they're pretty seamless. So you can hang them up on the wall, you can stick them somewhere, or you can just, for me, like my sensors are just here on my desk, just sitting down, and they just look like a nice little piece of art. Excuse me. So we've added these new sensors to help basically create more locations in the home where you can measure temperature. And so you can have your thermostat target a comfortable average across multiple rooms, like for example, the upstairs study, when you have multiple sensors. And you can even choose which sensors are active at different times of day. Because the thing about thermostats is, or all thermostats, is they have a temperature sensor inside the thermostat. But I don't know a lot of people who want the temperature in the hall to be exactly X temperature, right? It's about what it is in other parts of the home. So that's really where we've put a lot of time and effort into crafting the whole sensor strategy and allowing folks to have different temperatures, different parts of the home. So that's all the stuff about the home, but there's actually even more than just looking after the home's temperature. We actually do our best to look after your entire home. And so we have a feature, I mentioned this briefly earlier, called System Health Monitor. And this monitors your home's most expensive expensive systems, which is your HVAC system. And so effectively what it does is it helps catch issues early. So it'll remind you of small things like seasonal maintenance, and it will tell you about whether there's bigger issues like if your AC's lost power. It's really interesting, actually. So it does things like it monitors how long it takes for the temperature to drop by a certain amount. So let's say you came home, you turned the AC on, you want the temperature to drop by like 5 degrees. In the past, if it used to take you 20 minutes and now it's taking you 45, maybe the windows are open, or maybe there's a problem with your HVAC system. And so we've seen this happen with tons of customers where this has been an early detection thing for folks. And so it's been an easy fix through a maintenance visit versus an explosion and $15,000 on a new HVAC system. And so what's really cool is we've basically trained our thermostats on very sophisticated models on 96 billion hours of anonymized, it's all anonymized monitoring data. And with that, we can figure out, like, with quite a lot of accuracy, when there's an actual issue versus when it might be a false positive or something else is going on. And so with the new hardware we have and the new less learning thermostat, we're also expanding compatibility that goes beyond just the previous compatibility we had. So it works with even more complex systems like humidifiers, dehumidifiers, ventilation. And so across the board, it's now the thermostat that works with, or our thermostat that works with the most HVAC systems. And so from a ventilation perspective, I just talked about this in a second, we're also launching a new feature called smart ventilation. So rather than just a simple on-off schedule, which most systems have today, smart ventilation makes optimization decisions basically to draw in outside air when it's appropriately hot or cold and when it's healthiest. So it's not going to be pulling in air, for example, if there's a whole bunch of smoke outside. So for example, in my home, we have folks who are extra sensitive to smoke. So this is a really big deal for us. It helps with allergies, helps with a whole bunch of other things. So the smart ventilation, I think, it's a core feature. And again, this kind of builds on the natural heating and cooling I talked about a little while ago, where the thermostat really understands what the outdoor conditions are like and then makes smart decisions for the home accordingly. And then we also know that humidity can be an issue in a lot of homes. Too much causes condensation and then increases the health issues that could happen, like mold, for example. So we've got another feature that's called Humidity Helper that allows the thermostat to work with the specific equipment in your home to keep the humidity at like the safe levels that you need it to be. And since I mentioned earlier about the whole portfolio as we go across the different products and we've got all this experience, we've created more and more cross-surface continuity. So thermostat controls actually have quick access across the Pixel tablets. So if you've got one of those displays in your home, Pixel Watch for sure, your phone, of course, but also with the new 4K streamer that we launched, we're actually launching shortly, but it was announced a couple months ago, is the TV integration as well. So that's super cool. The home panel on the streamer is a great way to just quickly adjust the temperature while you're home, and you can also check on this temperature right when you're out and about with all the other devices you have. The other thing that's really cool with the Google Home app is you can set up a whole bunch of automations. So for example, when the heat is on and you have the windows open, you can receive a notification reminding you to close the windows, right? Which helps you save energy. So the automations also are really cool, and they're becoming more and more easy to build with a lot of the features that we're putting in. And then finally, we'll talk a little bit about controls for a second. The most popular thermostat controls have also been redesigned to be easier and more intuitive. And that being said, the thermostat is also Matter certified. So if anybody else has been keeping track of Matter, which is effectively like a cross-platform compatibility thing. So you can use this device with Matter certified smart home app of your choice, right? Whether it's the Google Home app or a different app. So lots of ways to easily control things, basically doing our best to be as helpful as we possibly can. And then I think one of the things that some folks had questions about previously when we checked was installation. And so the video that we ran by mistake earlier was actually very apt for this, because that is the installation video. It's a great video, really simple. The device is actually fairly easy to install. We do our best to make it as DIY friendly as possible. And so in most cases, you don't need a C-wire. It also includes a trim kit. So if the hole that the device leaves, your previous beige box leaves, is bigger than what you want to patch up, we also have a trim kit. So the thermostat fits nicely on the trim kit, and it covers up those holes. So really great. One thing I do want to talk about briefly is our patented power sharing technology, which is in the middle here. And first of all, it's the only Nest thermostats are the only ones that have this. But what it really means is that unlike other smart thermostats, our thermostats can be installed without needing a C-wire, or basically like a dedicated power wire, in the vast majority of homes. So as part of the installation process, we have a power test, and the majority of systems are compatible. If it does tell you that more power is needed, we also will ship you a Nest Power connector, which is basically an accessory that fixes that problem at no cost. So it's all done fairly easy, seamlessly. When you set it up, you run the power test, it happens as part of the whole setup. And then for the majority of people, it works just fine. So it's a lot simpler than having to run the extra C-wires. Like a lot of the devices come with the C-wire in the box, but you have to run this extra thing. So this makes it even more really simple and DIY friendly. Cool. All right. I've been doing a lot of talking, so we'll pause and get another poll question here. So if you don't want to install the device yourself, question for you is, did you know that PSE offers contractor referrals if you'd like to install your smart thermostat? We'll take a second to let everyone answer. And then Juan, feel free to jump in with the results as you get them.
Will do. Okay, results are coming on in. So it looks like we have a 30% for yes, and then 70% did not know that PSC offers contractor referrals for installing these smart thermostats.
Cool. Well, you do now. So basically, this should say 100%, right? That's the answer. That's how it works. Great. So PSE does offer contractor referrals. Please check the website, and you'll be able to get more info there. And so let's move on. So basically, our Nest Learning Thermostat 4th generation is priced. It comes with a temperature sensor in the box, so you can decide which of your children you like the most and put in their bedroom, or maybe it's just you and you put in your own bedroom, and they build character. That's the story I was told as a child. Anyway, so these devices are $279.99, which is great. We currently have a promo with PSE. So if you go to pse.com/marketplace, which is listed on the bottom right here on the slide, there's a limited time offer of $150 off, which I think is a screaming deal. So please go and check that out. And if you decide that you do care about your children, I'm joking, totally joking. But if you do decide you want more temperature sensors, you can also buy more temperature sensors in 1-packs and 3-packs. And so the goal is really to have temperature sensors in the important rooms in your home, or all the rooms, so you can optimize for temperature in different places at different times. So that is the new Nest Learning Thermostat 4th generation. We do also offer one other thermostat that I will touch on briefly. We don't have a ton of time, so I'm going to kind of hustle through this, but feel free to throw in more questions if you have them into the Q&A. And so the other device that we offer, we've been offering this for a little while, is our Nest thermostat. And the naming is not confusing at all, but the difference really is, and what's interesting is actually they both learn. It's just this one is a slightly lower end product because it has fewer terminals for different systems. But otherwise, and it's got a different user experience, but otherwise it is still a great Nest product, and it does have a bunch of amazing software features. So this is our most affordable product, and it's got a mirror finish. It's very similar to the Nest Learning Thermostat 4th generation in that there's no logos, it's kind of a seamless screen as you look across it. And so the goal is really so that it fits into your home. It's got a very friendly device experience. It's kind of intuitive, actually. You kind of understand that the mirror finish is not something you want to put fingerprints all over. And so the way it works is swipe and touch. And so you just swipe on the side to move things up and down versus like the kind of rotating ring that you have on the 4th generation. And then you just tap for the things you want. And so as you can see here, there's the status and alerts you get on the screen. There's a whole bunch of different modes, et cetera, et cetera. Our goal was really to make it glanceable, so you can just look at it, see what's going on, discoverable, and just a delightful overall experience. So that's been great. And it's done super well. We've had it out for a few years now, and it's an incredible product. We continue making software updates to it, lots of savings-oriented features. I talked about the 96 billion hours that we use to build all these great algorithms to basically save more and more energy. And so all of those go into all of our thermostats. They're not linked to just one. And so there's a lot of great stuff here. This thermostat also has the option where you can have it automatically change some schedules or do it manually if you want. It can tell you, and then you can choose. And so it says here it automates if you click to approve, but you have to decide that first. So we're not running around just changing the temperature in your home willy-nilly. And then there's a bunch of great helpful software features which we you expect from Nest thermostats as you go across the board. So across different products, more savings. In the health monitor that we just talked about, system health monitor, they also exist on this thermostat. And just like the Nest Lighting Thermostat 4th generation. This one's also designed for DIY or Easy Pro install. It has fewer terminals than the NLT 4th generation. This one is 3 heat, 2 cool versus the Nest thermostat is 2 heat, 1 cool. But it's still, I mean, it's still a great product if it fits for you. It's an awesome device. Also has our power sharing proprietary technology, which means that most homes don't need a C-wire, which makes it even faster to be able to install. This one, because we find that a lot of folks who buy this thermostat, care more about price and often are more DIYers who want to, patch up the walls and kind of have it look more seamless on the wall. This one does not come with the trim kit in the box, so the trim kit is available for $14.99 as an external purchase. And if you look at the different colors, so there's 4 different colors of this thermostat. Personally, I really like the fog. I used to have that in my living room before I replaced it with this one. But they're all beautiful thermostats, and they come with coordinating trim plates and trim kits in the back. So this one is $129.99, but there are also rebates on pse.com/marketplace. So please check those out. It makes it extremely affordable. There's really no reason you shouldn't have a smart thermostat. It'll save you a ton of money, especially when you start adding in the rebates from the marketplace. So yeah, that's everything that I had. Almost on time, but we'll move on to some Q&A. So Juan, back to you.
Great. Thanks for all that awesome information, Manu. Yeah, we have a few questions here. So I'm going to start with the questions that came in earlier in the presentation. So I have one here from Lori Spivak, and she says, the unit I bought is not compatible with my system. How do I return it?
Yeah, so I think wherever you bought it from, you should be able to return it pretty easily, pretty directly. So I'm not sure what your location was of purchase, but most places that you'll buy them from, you'll be able to return them if they're not compatible. I guess the question I would just double check on is if it's a power compatibility issue during the power test, if it said this is not power compatible and we'll send you a free Nest power connector, that might be something you want to try out before you return it. But if it's not compatible, because some systems they aren't compatible. I used to live in a different town where I had literally a furnace in the floor, like a fire in the floor. And, the house was from 1906 and the thermostat was from 1875. So that one did not work with the new smart thermostat. So we can't build system compatibility for everybody, but yeah, that you should be able to return it to wherever you got it from. Juan, you're on mute.
Thank you for that.
No problem.
Our next question comes from Pamela Thomas. She says, I have a 1948 house, oil converted up. Give me 1 second. My computer is. All right. 1948 house, oil converted to upright wall furnace, gas, old electric, 1960s round thermostat, no brand make visible. Best update recommendation with the least effort install, basically.
Yeah, that's a great question. I don't know. I don't know the answer for that one. What you can do is you can take your thermostat off the wall. And as you take it off, you'll be able to see what the wires are from the back. And then we have a compatibility checker. So if you go to googles.com/store or googlestore.com, they all work. They'll take you to the right spot. Store.google.com, that's the official domain. So if you go there and you click on thermostats, we have a compatibility checker. And so with that, you can basically tell the checker like which wires you see, and then it can tell you which thermostats would be compatible. But the alternative might be that you look into chatting with a contractor from the PSE site who can help you find the right one.
All right. So next we have, actually it's 3 questions from Loy Nguyen. I'm sorry if I didn't say your last name properly. So we'll go ahead and start with the first question here. It says, I converted my central gas heat to central air with a heat pump. The heat pump takes a long time to heat the home. And how do I set it up to use gas as heat to heat up faster? So that was question 1. I don't know if you want to take it, and if not, I mean, we could always send, capture these and try to get the information back to them.
Yeah, I don't know the answer to that one specifically for your specific system.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm not sure exactly all the different ones.
So maybe with this, we'll see if we can get back to you on that, Loy. So second part for Loi's question is also, is it possible to configure it to have zones? Okay, so I'm assuming this is still related to the previous question, so I think we can go ahead and see if we can answer that offline here through an email. I'm sure. Yeah, so I guess this one could potentially be for the smart thermostats, but I guess if you have, can you, my upstairs and downstairs temperature difference is about 10 degrees. How can we set it up to have temperature evenly up and downstairs? So that could potentially be a smart
Yeah,
thermostat.
we can work on that. So there's two answers to this. And I'd also like to welcome Adina Roth here, who is our product manager on the Nest Learning Thermostat Force. So she's the expert by far. So Adina, feel free to jump in also if you have additional comments, but I can get started on this one. So the answer is yes and no. Yes, you can, because if you have sensors in different locations, you can tell it to optimize for different locations. However, a lot of the times the answer is no/difficult, because it's more to do with the airflow inside your house. So if your vents are set up in such a way that specific parts of your house are going to get more air. So for example, for me, I have the same size vent in this smaller room as I do in some of the bigger rooms. So this room is going to cool a lot faster than the other rooms because it's tiny. And so sometimes the way that the house is set up, it can be a little bit harder to get the same temperature across both sides. The solution there is you could go for something like smart vents, kind of expensive and possibly difficult. Or you could, a simple answer is if you're sometimes upstairs and sometimes downstairs, you can definitely use temperature sensors and tell it when to optimize for the different ones. That's a starting point. Adina, do you want to add some more?
Yeah, just to clarify, is the question how do we balance between different rooms?
Yeah, the question was, there's a 10-degree difference between the upstairs and the downstairs. Is there a way to get them both to a similar temperature?
Yeah, so one of the features that we've introduced is the ability to essentially, so you can average between rooms. So you could put one sensor downstairs and one sensor upstairs. It wouldn't be able to get both of those rooms to exactly the same temperature, but what it would do, it would try and keep both of them within a range. So the hot room would not get too hot and the cold room would not get too cold. As Manu said, the alternative is if you're using, for example, the upstairs for sleeping and the downstairs for living, then you can set up a schedule. So you'll have your bedrooms prioritized at night and your living and kitchen prioritized during the day. And that way you would also save energy because you wouldn't be trying to unnecessarily heat or cool the parts of the house that you're not using.
Yeah, perfect. Thanks, Adina. Thanks for the extra stuff there. Juan, are you still available?
I'm still available, but I'm having some technical issues at the moment. I'm trying to.
Hi, Manu. This is Alana with PSE. I can step in to help out.
Sure.
I can take over some of the Q&A here. What is the difference between Nest and Nest Learning? Michael is curious.
The Nest thermostat and the Nest Learning thermostat?
Mhm.
Yeah. Adina, do you want to answer this one? Or do you want me to take it?
You can take it. Or I can, yeah. So the difference between, at this point, there are a few key differences between the Nest Learning thermostat and the Nest thermostat. First of all, the Nest Learning thermostat has more intelligent features than a Nest thermostat. It also comes with a sensor in the box and it's compatible with the sensor, which the Nest thermostat is not. However, the Nest thermostat is much more affordable. From a compatibility perspective, the Nest Learning thermostat is our most compatible thermostat ever. And so if you are worried about compatibility or you want to make sure that it's going to work, the Nest Learning thermostat is our, we've expanded compatibility to more systems, to more modern systems. And the Nest Learning thermostat it doesn't require any additional batteries, whereas the Nest thermostat does have a replaceable battery.
Nailed it. That's all.
Yes, thank you. Perfect.
Thanks, Adina.
Okay,
all right, what's next,
you
Alana?
can keep going. Laura.
Okay, I think
are
I
you
might
back,
be.
Juan? Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, I think I might be back here. Sorry, let me get my video on. Sorry about that. Just some technical difficulties there. Okay, so next question is from Lars, I'm sorry, I'm gonna mispronounce her last name. Ojukwu. What happens if you don't have AC? Like I have heating but no cooling.
Yeah, generally, well, if the thermostat's compatible, that's fine. You can set it up to do heat only. There are a lot of folks who I used to live in San Francisco, which is just like 30 minutes that way. Very few people in San Francisco have air conditioning, and we have a lot of Nest users. So it absolutely will work with the system, assuming that there's system compatibility and it works okay with that. It'll work just fine because you can turn on the different heat and cool features accordingly. And with that, sorry, I'll just jump in for 2 seconds. There was a question I saw in the chat that popped up is, can I get this to work automatically can the Nest, is from Michael Parks, can the Nest Learning be set up for auto, that is, knows when to turn on the AC or the furnace without having to manually set cool or heat? It's just kind of the same question, so I thought we could lump them together. And the answer is yes. So there's heat/cool mode, which it will automatically do both. So if you live in a place that's where you're trying to get into, the right temperature and the exact kind of whatever zone that you want, it can do both.
I think, yeah, it's totally right. And I think there's a similar question around compatibility. We have an online compatibility checker, and I can put it in the chat. So you can go to this and see if you're compatible or not. We'll let you. And I think, Laura, as you said, the process is to take the current guy off the wall. You don't have to take the whole thermostat off the wall. Most thermostats have like a plastic cover, so you can just take the cover off, and the compatibility checker will walk you through what kind of wires you have, what letters they're connected to, and through that you can figure out if you're compatible or not.
Yeah, exactly. It's super easy to use. I think installation is something that scares a lot of people, myself included, when I first started on this. It's really, really easy to use. So please don't be scared of the compatibility checker. It's
Yeah,
really quick.
I'm just scanning through some of these other questions. We're seeing what is good, for example, for a gas furnace. The Nest thermostat is compatible with any system that has HVAC wiring and 24-volt power, which is most systems in the United States. So if you have a heat pump, or if you have as long as your system has that, you can control it with a Nest thermostat.
100%. Juan, are there more questions in your Q&A?
Yeah, I have another one here. It says from Kim Simmons. Do these thermostats have battery backups in the event of power failure? If so, how long would the backup last? Also, if a power failure were to happen, would the thermostat need to be set up again?
That's a really good question. Oh, sorry. That's a really good question. We do a lot of tests to be able to ensure that your thermostat will be able to preserve power in situations where there is, for example, a power failure, or for example, if you live in an area that might have a blizzard. And so what we do in those moments is actually we shut off a lot of the unnecessary features. So we won't, for example, display. We do things on the thermostat to conserve power to enable your system to be able to continue functioning. I can't I can't share exactly how long that is for, but we spend a lot of time testing our devices in many different places to ensure that you're in the best possible situation in the unfortunate event that you are in a blizzard or there is a power shutoff.
Okay. Let's see here. I have another one here. This is kind of a more specific one, but I'm just going to go ahead and read it. So 1955 Bramble, no vents in hallway, no windows in hallway. How many vents in other rooms? Same with windows. Few return vents. Some rooms have windows that don't open. Will this help? And how many extra sensors are needed for central?
Yeah. So, okay, so this is a scenario where what you're saying is your thermostat is in the part of the room that you're not using. It's in the hallway. A lot of people's thermostats are in the hallway. This is really common. And the challenge is, right, that the thermostat is sensing that the temperature in the hallway is really hot or really cold, and then it's managing the rest of the house. So in this scenario, this is where I can't tell you exactly how many extra sensors you'll need, but what we allow you to do is we actually allow you to deselect the thermostat. So the thermostat has a sensor on it, And then our external sensors also have a sensor. And so in your case, you would want to make sure that you have a sensor for every room that you care about. Or if those rooms have similar temperatures, like you may not need to do that. You could try it out. And then what you can do is you can just unselect the thermostat. So there are two ways to manage your sensors. One way is to manually manage them. So you could just deselect them, and then the thermostat will never be selected. Your sensor will always be selected. The second thing that you can do is you can actually add sensors to your schedule. So then you would go into your schedule, and into every event that you have, you would also make sure that you're selecting the sensors for the rooms that you care about. And you can either choose the same for all the events or different ones. But if you don't select any sensors, then you can just manually choose which sensors you want to prioritize. So for example, like you may work in the office sometime during the day, and then you might go to the kitchen to have lunch. Like you could just manually change that. But yeah, the key thing is that you would deselect your thermostat, and then it wouldn't be taken into account.
All right. Well, thank you so much for all of those questions. We're getting close to time here, so we're just gonna go ahead and finish up with the Q&A here. Any questions that were not answered, we are gonna be trying to compile those answers and send them over to you. We do have some resources we like to share. We have our psc.com/marketplace where you can actually get instant discounts for all these smart thermostats that we've been talking about here. So make sure to check out psc.com/marketplace to check these great deals out. Next page, please, or slide.
Cool. Sorry, just a quick note here.
Yeah.
I noticed we posted the compatibility link, but I think Adina and I don't have access to post to everyone. So Oren or someone else, if you could post it for everyone, that'd be great. And alternatively, folks, there's a shortcut. It's an older page, but it'll take you to the right page in the end. If you go to nest.com/works, that'll take you to the compatibility checker. The new URL is a little longer, but you can also go to store.google.com, and you can find your way through to the compatibility checker, or nest.com/works.
Awesome. Thank you, Manu.
Cool.
All right. Next page, please.
Sure.
All right. So if you guys didn't know, PSE does have some recommended energy professionals that you can go ahead and connect with, and they've been vetted by PSE, so you can have that peace of mind. So that's just a resource there that we offer for you guys. Go ahead and go to the next page. And that is going to be it for today. Thank you for joining us. Muchísimas gracias por estar aquí con nosotros. As I mentioned earlier, we are going to be having a giveaway for a smart thermostat. So keep an eye on that. Eye out on that. That will be coming out to you guys shortly, as well as a post-event survey. So please make sure to take that when you get it. We'd really appreciate it, and it can really help us out. And if you'd like to visit further events to see what we got coming up, please just go to psc.com/events. Thank you for joining us today.
Cool. Thanks for having us. This was great.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. Bye, everyone.
Bye, everyone.